Well, good afternoon, good day, everybody. Welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified business and executive coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in the Dayton, Ohio area. And we're thrilled to have you all join us for this episode. We're also excited to hear the story from Matthew Sliver. Matthew is a founder, president, and CEO of Catapult Creative, which really is a full service advertising agency based here in the Dayton, Ohio area that he founded nearly 11 years ago. And also deeply passionate about supporting the local Dayton community and the region, bringing growth, and really kind of sharing some of the great progress that's happening in the community. So we're going to tap into that. So again, for those viewers, we're thrilled to have you here. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so you can get even additional messages from other leaders after this great message you're going to get from Matthew here today. So with that, Matthew Sliver, welcome to the Business Spotlight. We're thrilled to have you. Take a minute, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about Catapult Creative.
Sure. Hey, Todd, it's great to be here, and to the audience, welcome. So as Todd said, I'm Matthew Sliver. I'm the president and founder of Catapult Creative, located right here in Dayton, Ohio. We've been in business since January 1st, 2013. We are a full service marketing agency that includes anything from obviously branding, web dev and design, marketing strategy, social media management, corporate training, you name it. If it's in marketing, we probably have a service for it.
So why marketing? What was your passion to get started in this line of work?
So I went to school for business entrepreneurship. So I always knew that I wanted to, own my own business. At least that's what I thought I wanted to do. In marketing, what I found was creatives have a really, really hard time selling their service. There's a lot of creatives out there that really just don't know how to create value in what they do. So what I found through working in agencies was I'm really good at explaining those details and really creating that value with customers. In marketing, we don't create tangible goods. Like when I do a brand, their business card or the logo that goes on a billboard, that's kind of the extent of what they get out of it. So really explaining that value to the customer and where they understand that where the expertise comes in. I think that's the line I try to draw. So I'm passionate about business. I'm passionate about marketing. And I really just like helping other entrepreneurs grow their businesses. So marketing was one of the better avenues for me to get into that.
A great explanation. You also talked about, passionate about many facets there, but I also know you're very passionate about the community, the Dayton community, and supporting there and growing, kind of part of the renaissance of the Dayton region as well. So talk a little bit about Dayton Inspires. What inspired you to found Dayton Inspires, and what's its role?
Sure. So like I told you, I've grown up in Dayton. I've always been a Dayton guy. And if I know a lot of your audience isn't in Dayton, but if you know anything about Dayton, is we got really hit hard in the '08 crash. So I was going to school during that time, and the positivity surrounding Dayton was just not there. NCR left, Mead Paper left, and everybody said there was nothing to do in Dayton, and everybody had to get out. And me and my friends, we just saw it differently. So we took this idea of creating some sort of plan around just like showcasing what Dayton has to offer to the Dayton Summit. Ended up winning that summit and created Dayton Inspires out of it. So it was really just my opportunity to take my perspective with the group that I was with and kind of showcase what we saw as what Dayton has to offer and the best things. I've always seen Dayton as kind of, its resurgence, its renaissance is based around small businesses, and DI was a really good opportunity for us to just, not have to take a page out of anybody else's playbook and kind of do it at our own pace. It was also, turns out it was a really great way for me to engage my employees and connect them with the city too. So it's been a very fun project.
Right. So take a minute now. We'll shift back to your marketing agency, Catapult Creative.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, who are your ideal clients? So if somebody's listening to this, how they hey, they could be a great fit to reach out to you.
Sure. So we started Catapult trying to focus mostly on small businesses, and we've graduated from that just quite a bit. So where we kind of fit in, we kind of look at revenue. We don't want to be bigger than our clients. So anybody with revenue 3 million and up, we do not have a niche in market. The closest niche that I have is luxury home builders. I've got 5 or 6 local home building clients here. But I've worked with DoD. I had a project working with a university in Saudi Arabia. I've run the gambit of all different types of clients. So I always tell people, like I said, we don't have a niche. It's really just comes down to the strategy. And if we can get along, right? Marketing is somewhat subjective when it comes to like selecting an agency. I always tell clients like, you know, if you're not looking forward to seeing me, then I'm not doing my job properly. And so with marketing, you want to find a group that you can really relate to and get along with and really see yourself growing. And we try to be that company for those organizations.
So I think you mentioned, while you started here and you've got a passion around the Dayton community, like your client base continues to grow and, even beyond that, even global. You mentioned, I think, Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah. So we've worked a little bit of everywhere. I do prefer working with local clients, at least like regionally or in the state of Ohio, because I like meeting people. Like you and I have not met in person, and I will meet with people virtually. But I want to know my clients. I want to, be able to shake hands with them and have them down to my office or have lunch or dinner with them. So while Ohio provides a pretty unique value to organizations that are maybe in California or New York, because New York and LA agencies are much more expensive than Ohio, right? And then in this post-pandemic world, we all know that we can work from anywhere and do just about anything from anywhere on the planet. So I think the thing that we try to offer is just like being relatable, being understanding, being open, being honest with our clients. There's really no regulation in marketing. So what I might call SEO and what our philosophy in SEO is, you could get 100 different answers from other organizations, right? So we just try to be as transparent as possible with our clients and just educate them in it so that, if they move on or they sell their organization and go find another agency, that they're at least, they know enough to be dangerous, right?
So it sounds like you're hitting on a lot of those things would normally be kind of your unique selling proposition, what separates you from the competition out there, right? There are a lot of other agencies, as you mentioned. Is there anything else you'd say, hey, this is what stands out about us, and this is how we communicate that to the market. This is how we make that known, and don't be a best kept secret.
Sure. So yes, marketing companies, they pop up all the time, especially here in Dayton. There's probably 25 at least other agencies. According to the Dayton Business Journal, there's at least 25 other agencies. And I think we all have our own like area of expertise. Like there's some really good just like web development agencies that don't really offer the branding expertise. So at least locally, I think that one of our biggest benefits is that we offer that wraparound service and we're good at all of it. We cut our teeth in an era where people still had like mobile websites. So you had to have a mobile and a regular website. And when we came into the market, we were building WordPress responsive websites, which was, I guess you could call it not necessarily groundbreaking, but it was in Dayton, nobody was building responsive websites. So that's where we started. And then those service offerings, we just found that clients didn't want to have to go to 3 or 4 different places to get the service. So as we grew, we added on staff and we added on service. And it's like I said, marketing subjective. So I'm going to believe that I'm the best at what we do, of course, right? You could talk to the other 24 agencies and they're going to tell you the exact same thing. So I do truly believe that marketing is subjective, but for us, that relationship with our clients, that expertise and that honesty, that's what I believe really helps us set ourselves apart. I meet with, new prospective clients all the time that have been burned by agencies. It's at least a weekly conversation I have. And then they're wounded, they don't know who to trust and they don't know really where to go from there. So like I said, I try to educate them and just explain the process to them and help them make some money. Right.
So that leads into, how do you get that message out there? How do you generate leads like that, right? So I'm always curious, again, marketing agencies, how you market yourself. So you talked about some of the principles you lead with, how you try to differentiate yourself, but what are the tactics and processes you use to generate more business coming in?
So the majority of our clients that we get, or the leads that we get, is word of mouth, or they find us on search, right? So we have a really good, search department. So I don't want to sound spoiled, but it's Dayton, right? We all kind of know each other, and we're all separated by at least one other person. So, over that 11 years that we've been in business, building client relationships, people just kind of know about us. I do sit on the board for the Better Business Bureau of Miami Valley and Dayton. I'm on the executive board for the Levitt Pavilion Dayton. So I try to be involved in the community, and then just showcase my expertise in those settings. And that tends to lead to clients as well. But it really is a lot of word of mouth or search. So Dayton Inspires also plays into that quite a bit as well. I think I had mentioned to you that people did think that that was my job for a while. So when they find out, oh, you own a marketing agency, why are you doing Dayton Inspires? I'm like, well, I am here now, right? You did bring me in for something. So it's not billboards and digital marketing, like the services that I offer. It's really just word of mouth, being involved in my community, and just, sticking to our truth, which is like doing good business with people and showcasing our services.
Yeah, great compliment of, again, all the ways in which you're serving within the community, kind of bringing those ties back, and especially Dayton's kind of known as a big small town kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
People know people,
yeah.
right? So good. So 11 plus years in now, always twists and turns in the road, hills and valleys for entrepreneurs. So
Yeah,
walk us through maybe what was one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome, and what did you learn through that part of the journey?
sure. Well, honestly, the biggest challenge was the first 6 months of COVID, right? We lost, well, you know, $400,000 worth of business when COVID dropped. It was just a week of client after client calling me, telling me they were going to pause all of their campaigns, all of this work that we had set up, which was obviously terrible, right? I have a staff, there's 14 of us. And what I know about marketing professionals, especially creatives, is they can be somewhat sensitive to those types of things and those types of environments. So I really did not want to lay everybody off, right? So that's what me and my business partner had discussed when it happened. So one of the biggest challenges was, do I fire myself or do I fire my staff, right? So what we decided was we would take a pay cut and try to keep all of our staff on board. Now, of course, the federal government stepped up. A lot of the clients, saw the light. It was a scary situation, but I was able to recoup most of those funds after a month or two. So while that squeeze in that March to April of 2020 was really horrifying and scary, at the same time, it helped me grow quite a bit and really just define like who I felt like I was as a business leader and what I was really going to stick to. And that's, it's not all about me. It is my business. I do obviously have a business partner, but my staff is who got me here, right? So I think that was probably the biggest challenge. And then, of course, growing. Everybody says that. It's because it's true. Agencies, we look at it in chunks of like $1 million in revenue, and every million that you add on just adds on a whole new level of challenges to it, right? Marketing can be fickle. Marketing can be very, very cutthroat. And clients get bored, right? Clients want some new ideas. They want to move around. So you're never actually, like, the clients I have right now may not be the same clients I have a year from now. So really understanding how to provide that value to them as we're growing. I'm only as good as my clients are and what they allow me to do. So, I'm very, very fortunate to have some really great clients that I see eye to eye with and understand where I'm coming from, and that we're in this together, right? As my business grows, their business grows. That's really what I look for. Like, the value of a client is not necessarily what they can pay me, but how long will they be my client and how much growth can we go through together? So I know that I answered that in two different ways, but those are definitely my biggest challenges.
Yeah, that's good. Many good points there. I think, particularly, I'd like to go deeper on that. That how do you continue to add value? Because it's you see this a lot. People, no matter what industry you're in, you'll get a client relationship. You've had it for a couple of years. It can get kind of static. Everyone kind of gets
Yeah,
comfortable. You keep running the same plays because that's what you've always done. And then one day you wake up and hey, they want to leave because they want
yeah,
something new, right? So
yeah.
how do you prevent that from happening?
So I'm going to answer that with a story if you don't mind. And it's a story of one of my coworkers. So her name is Rachel Jenkins. She's our director of ops. She's been with us for going on 7 years now, and she's a minority partner in the business now. So when Rachel came in, she was relatively new to marketing, but she told me this story, right? So her grandfather started this agency down in Cincinnati called LPK. Um, exited from that, retired, millions of dollars involved, right? Um, but what he told her was this this was back in the 70s. This organization came to them. They had gone agency to agency to agency trying to find somebody to help invest with them. They didn't have a big budget. They had a movie coming out. It was supposed to be weird, sci-fi, space, but they just didn't have any money, right? So her grandfather saw the value in the client and what he thought the long-term value could be. So he cut his rates. He, did the branding, did all of the work for very, very little money. And that client ended up being Star Wars, right? So when you see like the original packaging for the Star Wars figures, right? Like the Boba Fett figure, there's a little boy on there. That is not a boy, that is Rachel's mom, because they truly did not have enough budget to even hire models. So how we look to build relationships with clients and like keep us interested, keep them interested, is we're not looking for the Coca-Colas of the world. Yes, it's marketing. We would all love to work on those types of accounts, but we want to make our Coca-Colas, right? Like the same way that he invested in Star Wars earlier, and then obviously Star Wars is what it is today. That's how we started looking at our clients, is like, who has the best potential for growth? Who has the best product or service or idea that we can see that we can grow this into something really, really big. Just a shout out to one of my clients, Dolphin Hat Games, located here locally in Clayton, Ohio. When they came to us, they had this game, Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, a really, really fun family tabletop card game. And I think they had sold, less than 1 million copies at that point. So they were still successful and they were still getting there. I've been working with them for 4 years, and I checked the numbers today. We've sold over 11 million copies of that game. So, in my mind, that's like the perfect example of that Star Wars factor. And granted, Taco Cat is not a household name at this point, but you go to any major retailer, they're going to be right there next to Uno, right? So that's it's a long-winded way to explain that if we're working with you, if we're working with a client, then we're invested too, right?
So great examples, past challenges, and also kind of ideal clients and how you keep them continue engaged. So as you look forward, what's the biggest challenge right now that's in front of you that you're trying to solve for?
So last year we transitioned from a project-based agency to a retainer-based agency. Great for revenue, but it created a lot of challenges because we had to get hyper focused on all of our admin processes, making sure we're tracking everything properly. And I'm an entrepreneur, so I kind of just see things as, it's not just A to B, it's like all the steps in between. But to be honest with you, I thought it was going to be a lot more simple than it ended up being, right? So we made the transition. Revenue went up 35%. It's been great. But all of the little nuances that happen, adding on staff, adding on new processes, just adds more and more layers onto what we're trying to do. And I doing project based is great because you know exactly what you're doing every single time, right? You do a proposal, you draft it, they sign it. You've got a timeline for everything. With retainers, you're kind of driving that conversation all the time. Like, what are we doing next quarter? What is the plan for the year? And it creates a whole new level of organization that, to be honest with you, adding on staff into that environment has been very, very challenging because we all know each other really well. I had mentioned to you our retention here is pretty high. So a lot of the folks that work here have worked here for, between 6 to 10 years. So when you throw in somebody else into the mix or add on a new service, it's just, there's little mistakes that happen. And I'm not, I could be forgiving of myself and other people, but mistakes are not my favorite thing. We're in business and we're professionals, so I'm constantly trying to make everything perfect, polish that stone. But the biggest challenge has been growth, right? Like we added on that 35% in revenue. We'll probably do another 20% this year. But it's truly an uphill battle. Not a single piece of it has been easy. Like, it's been fun and very challenging and rewarding, but not easy at all. It's been very, very difficult. But fortunate, I have, I look for good people. So I've got a lot of really great people here that have helped me, keep the wheels on and keep it rolling.
Well, you mentioned your retention. I didn't mean to rhyme there. It just so happened. But they talk through that, because the numbers you mentioned to me earlier were very impressive. So how you've been able to build that kind of cohesive of a team, that level of loyalty, and then also how do you use that as you're growing and needing to attract more talent?
Yeah. So there's a joke in marketing, and it's the way to get a raise is to switch jobs, right? Yeah. I try to be very, very fair when obviously we pay market rate, but there's things that I have to bend to just keep my employees, happy. So we obviously with the pandemic, we all went virtual, but I've kept that hybrid work environment going. So we're only in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which has been a big thing for all of my staff. They love it. It's Friday today. I'm in here by myself, which I kind of prefer. It gives me a chance to kind of ponder the week and the week ahead. But I look at all of them as they are, like I think I had mentioned, I consider them my coworkers. It's not top-down leadership. I wouldn't go as far to say that we're friends. I do like them all very much. But I understand that they all have families and they have other stuff, and this is work, right? It's marketing. We're not saving the planet here. So I try to be very understanding to things that are going on in their lives, their families, and I'm mega flexible about all of it. We're all adults here, and I treat them with respect. And as long as they're getting their work done, I'm very flexible on the hours they want to work, right? If there's no surprises and all my client work's getting done, and our team meetings, everybody's getting stuff done, then I'm open to, you want to go walk your dog? That's fine. You don't necessarily need to tell me about it. We do have some pretty decent benefits. We try to be competitive in that. But I really do think the number one thing that we do better than other people when it comes to employment is the work environment that we have here. We do have fun. We are very flexible. I think that would probably cover most of it. I'm sure my employees would add on a little peppering in here or there. We do obviously a lot of group outings. Sorry, we're at the corner of 3rd and Ludlow over here, so we might hear that fire truck more often than not.
All right, we're good. So as we get close to wrapping up here today, so we journeyed 11 years in, what do you think have been your keys to success? In particular, for our viewers out there, some who are kind of newer in their journey as an entrepreneur, what advice would you give them?
Listen to other people. Take everything with a grain of salt. I truly believe that at the end of the day, I do make all the final decisions for things, but I take everything into account. And while I do think that I'm a smart person, I am definitely not the smartest person. And when I'm hiring, I'm looking for people that can add value to my life, to my organization, and that know things that I don't know. And I think people get hung up on, kind of replacing themselves in a way. And I'm all for bringing in people that will add a whole new perspective to my business or my life. And just really being open to that opinion and that change. You know, everybody's going to have opinion about what you do with your business, right? But I truly think that adding on people that challenge you, that that are also looking towards the future, that are really trying to grow with you, that's, I think, one of my keys to success is finding people that are smarter than me, putting them in the right position, and listening to them. I think it's really as simple as that.
Okay. That's great. And that, that takes a lot of awareness and strength as a leader to realize, hey, these may be some gaps I have. I need to fill them, those with as I grow the team, and having the trust in folks to give them the empowerment and the authority to take the ball and run with those. So,
well, don't get
great
me
question.
wrong. I have made mistakes in that, right? I have hired people that were absolutely not fit for the role, at least in my organization. And you've got to learn from those mistakes,
Yeah.
obviously, and just try your best not to make them again. I had hired a guy with 25 years experience. I thought he was going to introduce me to the corporate world and just show me all the things that I didn't know. And it turns out 2 years later, he brought in no big accounts. He had helped us with some of our internal stuff, and we did learn from him. But at the same time, I don't think that he knew that much more about business or marketing than even I did at that point. So, um, listen, keep an open mind, but at the end of the day, try to make the best possible decisions for you and your organization.
Okay. So what are the best ways for folks to stay connected with you and follow Catapult Creative?
Sure. So obviously Instagram, Facebook for Catapult. I tend to be a pretty private person on social media. That's where I started my career in social media, and I've definitely taken a step back as far as like being public with what I'm doing. So feel free to follow me on Instagram, Mr. Skybler. But definitely follow Catapult if you want to stay up to date with that. They've got more fun things on there than I'm ever going to post.
Okay, so Instagram and Facebook, primary channels for folks to connect with. Plus check out the website as well. Launch.
Check out our website. We have an email list that we send out quarterly. We do have a little bit of like industry expertise, but my brand with Catapult is very much like what we're doing and like the type of work we're doing. It's less like, here's your top 5 tips for marketing in 2024. We try to have a little bit more personality than that. So feel free to subscribe and stay up to date with us.
So Matthew Sliver, as we wrap up here today, what are you inspired by today?
This might sound corny, but so my wife is the editor of the Dayton Daily News, right? So the Dayton Daily News just won the First Amendment Award from Ohio Associated Press Media and Editors. So I always feel like I'm not competing with my wife. I don't want it to sound like that, but they say like iron sharpens iron or something like that. So I'm always trying to just keep up with my wife, right? She's doing some really groundbreaking things in media and journalism, and she truly does inspire me. My daughter Sophia, she's 12. She just got accepted into Stiver School for the Arts for 2 magnets. So I'm just inspired by the people that are around me, my family, and then just other business leaders, other companies that I'm working with. Their success, I get to share in that, and that's really what keeps me moving. Is providing value and growing my business and growing other people's.
Well, congratulations to your daughter and your wife for those great accomplishments. Also, congratulations to you as well for achievement your 11 plus years of strong leadership and growth with the business, and also giving back and serving the community, which I can tell you're passionate about and that you'll continue as well.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. And thanks for having me on. Hopefully, I provided something to somebody out there, and hopefully, if you heard anything, you want to know more, I'm an open book. Even if you don't think that you're in the position to, work with Catapult today, I'm always up for a conversation. I love meeting new people. That is my job, is, talking with folks. So if you have a business idea or are just getting started and just want to bounce some ideas off me, I'll open the door for that. So feel free to reach out through our contact form on our website.
All right. Great advice. Encourage folks to do that. Go check them out on the website again at launchcatapult.com. So again, thank you to all the viewers for joining us today. We encourage you to hit that like button. We always appreciate that. But also importantly, if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you receive future drops and future messages from other inspiring leaders like you heard from Matthew here today. So with that, thank you all, and hope you all have a terrific day.